19mm socket. Let's go ahead and remove the lug nuts. Go ahead and grab the wheel, remove it, and set it aside. So now that you have your vehicle supported on your jack stands, you now want to go ahead and relocate your jack to the rear control arm. We're just going to go ahead and jack this just enough to put a little bit of support underneath it. We're not lifting the vehicle off of your jack stands. We just want to hold this arm from any type of traveling or drooping downward. We're going to now use an 18mm socket to go ahead and remove the nut on this unit. Good, and tap out the trailing arm here. Now the rear trailing arm is bolted to the center right here, and it has a cam adjustment for alignment purposes. You want to use a crayon, paint, anything you have available to go ahead and mark this. You could actually etch the metal if you want to. What we're going to do is we're just going to mark yellow and yellow. That way there, when we remove this and put it back together, we will have the alignment or preliminary alignment specs for installation. Using a 15mm socket, swivel, and extension on the bolt head side and an 18mm on this side here. Let's go ahead and remove this. Let's try and work this off. Use a suitable pry tool to go ahead and work this cam off the bolt. Now our bolt is free from our bushing. We're going to go ahead and try and work that backward. Now the bolt on the other side is hitting the fuel tank. This is slotted, so we're going to go ahead and take the trailing arm and work that over the furthest point in, and we're going to try and push that bolt out. By rocking that around, you can go ahead and get that bolt out. With that out, grab your trailing arm and remove that. We're going to go ahead and work our cam bolt in. Get that back up in a position. Work our trailing arm up and in. You just have to rotate the bolt in the cam to get that to line up and come through like so. I'm going to go ahead and take our cam, and that is keyed, so there's a flat spot on that bolt. We'll be able to spin that up into our pre-marked position. We're just going to get our nut started on there. Not going to tighten it down yet. We just want to kind of get it snug down a little bit into its preliminary position. I'm going to go ahead and get our ball joint end onto the knuckle. Now I'm just going to go ahead and snug this nut down. When trying to tighten up the nut, it was spinning the ball joint. So we're going to go ahead and use a 5/16 wrench on the shaft right here, and we're going to go ahead and hand tighten the nut here until this snugs up. Now that we've just kind of snug up the nut here, we're just going to zip it with the gun. Now we have our extension and socket on the head of the bolt on the other side, and when I turn that, we're adjusting this cam setting. Right about now it's starting to get snug. I want to go ahead and position this so in between these bumps right here. And this is off a little bit. So what we're going to do, spin this around. We're going to tighten this up so it's in between the two cam bumps. I'm going to turn this a little bit. And when we turn this cam, it's actually positioning our trailing arm. Once we get that in a position, we're going to go ahead and tighten this nut down. Now we're preliminary setting. Once this is all completed, you want to go down and get your alignment performed. I'm going to go ahead and torque down our cam bolt here to 77 foot-pounds. I'm going to go ahead and torque this down to 22 foot-pounds. And if you have the ability to do so, it's an additional 200 degrees using your torque wrench or torque meter. We're just going to snug ours at 22 foot-pounds. We don't have the ability to do that 200 degrees. Once your trailing arm is torqued down, go ahead and remove the jack from the knuckle itself. Remove that. Once you get your wheel on, you want to go ahead and get an alignment done. And then go ahead and install the wheel. And get all the lug nuts started by hand, and then we'll go ahead and snug those down. I'm going to go ahead and torque down the wheel to 103 foot-pounds.